Vladimir Putin's grip on power in various former Soviet states appears to be slipping, as signs of insecurity emerge amidst recent developments. News.com has learned that Putin's influence is waning as Ukraine makes strategic advances and other nations seek to distance themselves from Moscow. The Russian military has reportedly been panicking in response to Ukraine's recent advances along the southern frontline, particularly in the Verbov area. Ukrainian forces have captured new locations, with the potential for more breakthroughs in the coming weeks. Putin's challenges extend beyond Ukraine, as he grapples with efforts to exert influence in countries like Georgia and Armenia. Protests and conflicts have erupted in these former Soviet states as they attempt to align themselves more closely with the West, a shift Putin is eager to counteract. Nasha Seskuria, a Russia expert, observes, "I wouldn't say Putin is on the brink of losing his entire influence in the region, but his grip is weakening. He's increasingly insecure because he lacks many allies who can provide practical military support." While Russia has economic allies like China, the overall balance of power appears to be shifting against Moscow. Recent events highlight the Kremlin's diminishing influence. For instance, when Armenian President Nikol Pashinyan sought Russian military assistance against Azerbaijan, his plea went unanswered, indicating a decline in Russian sway. Seskuria explains to the Express, while Russia maintains peacekeepers in Armenia, other actors like Turkey now hold greater leverage. She emphasizes that Russia's position is less favorable, even if it attempts to portray ceasefire agreements as successes achieved through its mediation. In Armenia, efforts by President Pashinyan to strengthen ties with the West have further isolated Putin and his ambitions in the region. Neighboring Georgia presents a more complex situation, with its EU membership bid under scrutiny in October. Since the conflict in Ukraine erupted, Georgia has vacillated between aligning with the West and Moscow. Recent claims by Georgia's National Security Agency of a potential coup plot ahead of the EU membership review have raised concerns. Seskuria suggests that the Kremlin, which has allies in the Georgian parliament, will work diligently to prevent Georgia's EU candidacy. She asserts, it is in the Kremlin's interest to ensure Georgia remains outside the EU fold. The Kremlin continues to engage in hybrid activities, including disinformation and infiltrating the Georgian political landscape with agents of influence. Adding to the complexity, thousands of Russians have migrated to Georgia, particularly in September 2022, to evade conscription into the Russian army. Lenient migration rules and visa-free arrangements between Russia and Georgia have raised fears that agents of influence may be operating in the country on behalf of the Kremlin, potentially undermining Georgia's sovereignty.